after you became a teacher.
Yeah.
How was that possible?
It wasn't necessarily a year. I think I was dancing. I was dancing.
Said that in an interview.
Yeah, I was dancing about. It was almost 2 years. What happened was that when I was already asked into the company, the professional company. Almost immediately, it was about 3 months into me learning how to dance that I was brought in, and then 2 months later I was on stage at Madison Square Garden. And I always danced. I danced my entire life. I won a freestyle dance competition when I was in junior high school. Yes. I didn't dance, but it was no. I was dancing. You know, I was dancing. I would dance at family gatherings. I didn't know what I was doing, and it was all kind of like you figure it out and you watch music videos. Yeah, but it never even presented itself as a possibility to be studied formally until that time, because I was too young to be in the Latin nightclubs, and so I didn't realize people actually were taking classes to learn this formally as a structure. I thought you had to just grow up in a family where somebody was a good dancer and they passed that along. And so when I saw that for the first time when I was in the military, and my father kind of exposed me in Florida, he exposed me to the nightclubs and he took me out to show me what was going on. I said, these people are going somewhere to learn this. This is like, you know, sophisticated stuff. And so I got it in my head that I needed to do this, you know, and I wanted to be able to do it formally with anybody that, you know, that I chose to do it with, and not just the people I was comfortable dancing with, you know, my aunts and even my sister. So at that time, when I did go in, I already had this whole kind of, you know, montage of dealing with the music, and my father had the music. He was a big salsa head and still is, and so he would talk salsa head. You know, we say you know, we add the word head to somebody who's crazy about something. Yeah. So he was very much into that, and he used to tell me stories about the musicians and him going to see, you know, the battle between Tito Puente and Tito Rodriguez in the Madison Square Garden. And I used to get all these feelings from those stories he used to tell me, and all this nostalgia, all this stuff that I remember enjoying, because I was a Puerto Rican who was born in New York, and at a certain age you start wanting to find your roots and you want to connect to something that brings you back to Puerto Rico. And so this stuff was very interesting to me because it meant where I came from, you know, connecting to where I came from. So by the time I started dancing, you know, it was something that
So you were already at the level.
yeah, I understood certain things, and structurally I needed to learn what I was doing and how to do it better. But I think that it was something that was supposed to happen. I really believe that the second that I got into a dance studio and started to learn it, that it was making sense to me. You know, it made sense to me immediately. I saw logic in how it worked immediately. And I remember after 3 months, people asking, who's this guy? You know, about me, yeah, and some of the girls that I was close to in the dance school, who had been around a while and were dancing in the student company. You know, they used to say I was an alien and that I was a prodigy and that all this stuff, you know, and it was like, you know, I really felt like I'm supposed to do this, you know, I can really do this at a high level. And so, I don't want to say that, but it felt that way. People were, it happened so quickly. And so people then started to ask me to teach them, and I said, you know, I don't teach, I just come to classes. And I remember somebody asking me if I would come earlier to class to work with them, and I was embarrassed that anybody would ask me that, because I saw myself as a student and I was learning, and how could I help you? And so the people around me started to force me to work with them and to help explain how the hell I was able to do things the way that I was doing them out of the blue, you know. And so it was kind of a forced thing. And the first class I ever had was a young man who came to me, who was taking classes with me, who said, if I can get 15 or 20 people together, would you be willing to teach us a group class once a month? And I said, sure, if it's 15 or 20 people, and that's where everything kind of blossomed from there. It was something that I didn't look to do, it kind of happened to me.